Welcome to the deep dive. We're tackling a really interesting piece of research today.
Yeah, what do we got?
It's looking at whether the intense lifestyles of elite Hungarian Olympic athletes might actually, impact how they age biologically.
Okay, biological aging, not just chronological.
Exactly. We've got this study suggesting a fascinating link, and the goal really is to figure out what this might mean for, well, for you listening, those of us not quite competing on the world stage.
Right. And it starts with how they measure age, which is key here. It's
Yeah.
not just birthdays.
No.
It looks at epigenetic age. You think of it like the biological wear and tear on our bodies at a cellular level.
So a way to see if your body is acting sort of younger or older than your actual age.
Precisely. It's a measure of underlying biological processes.
Okay, so the big headline finding, these Olympic champions, generally showed these younger epigenetic clocks compared to non-athletes.
Yeah, that's pretty striking, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests all that intense training isn't just about performance. Maybe it's fundamentally altering their biology.
Well, it seems to be associated with slower aging markers, yeah. These epigenetic clocks, they track tiny chemical tags on our DNA,
Okay.
specifically something called DNA methylation. And these patterns, they shift as we age, but also based on environment, lifestyle.
And that affects how our genes work.
Exactly. And it's been linked to the risk of age-related diseases, cognitive decline, even overall lifespan.
Hmm.
So seeing slower changes in the athletes is, well, it's significant.
And it gets even more specific, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The study found that the medalists,
especially the recent medalists. Yeah,
they showed an even greater difference, a more pronounced effect.
that's right. And interestingly, it seemed like male athletes experienced a slightly bigger benefit in this epigenetic youthfulness
Mm.
than the female athletes.
Why might that be?
Well, it raises questions, doesn't it, about how bodies respond differently to extreme physical demands.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw the type of sport seemed to matter.
Yeah, I saw that. The wrestlers, for instance, they actually showed signs of more accelerated aging.
Compared to gymnasts and fencers, yeah. Which is counterintuitive, maybe.
It makes you wonder, right? If the specific, maybe high-impact stresses of certain sports have a different kind of effect over time, that wear and tear idea.
Could be. But we absolutely have to remember, Olympic athletes are a very, very select group.
Definitely not your average gym goer.
No, their genetics are likely different. The sheer volume and intensity of training is off the charts. Plus, they get constant health monitoring.
So it's really hard to pin it just on the training causing these epigenetic differences.
Exactly. There are probably lots of factors working together. And, like we mentioned with the wrestlers, maybe that super intense activity isn't universally good in every single biological way.
Right, there could be trade-offs.
Potential downsides.
Okay, so for you listening, what can we actually take away from this? Because, we're probably not going to start training like Olympians tomorrow.
Not likely. But if you connect this study to what we already kind of know, it really just reinforces the established benefits of regular physical activity for overall health.
Okay, so even if we can't draw a perfect line from our workouts to, say, definitely slowing our epigenetic clock like these elite athletes.
It provides another layer of evidence, doesn't it? That movement is good for us right down at a fundamental cellular level.
Right. We're talking about the kind of consistent, moderate exercise that's usually recommended anyway.
Exactly. Things like, a brisk walk, going for a swim, cycling, maybe some resistance training.
Stuff that we know helps reduce inflammation and improve metabolism.
Both really important for healthy aging, yeah.
So this study adds.
Well, what's compelling is it hints at a potential mechanism. How might regular exercise actually work inside our cells long term? Maybe, just maybe, it's by influencing these epigenetic markers.
Interesting. So the big picture takeaway isn't train like an Olympian to reverse aging. It's more a strong reminder, really, that just incorporating regular physical activity into our lives, it can have a real positive impact on how our bodies age.
Absolutely. And, along with decent nutrition and enough sleep,
Yeah,
that's something most of us can actually influence, unlike winning Olympic gold.
good point. That's much more achievable.
So maybe a final thought for you listening, thinking about this potential link, movement and cellular aging. What's one small, consistent change you could make?
To get more activity into your routine.
Yeah. Not just for how you feel today, but for that potential long-term health of your cells. Something to consider.